Hey fellow metalworkers, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story, episode 103, second batch. So right at the start, I want to talk about some medium to long-term planning and also what happened last week. So last week I was searching for traders, and as it turns out, I was right. They were bugged. What ends up happening when you do the pruning to update your map from like 118 to 119, traders weren't respawning. And I actually had that sort of theory that they weren't respawning, but they weren't. They actually were broken. So since last week, Vintage Story has updated and has fixed that. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is to prune my world again to put the traders back. Because I spent, I don't know, like 2 hours searching for traders last week, and it was frustrating and ridiculous. And they weren't there. They weren't there because they had bugged out. So let's bring them back. So the way to do that is to do a /command db space prune, P-R-U-N-E, 10. So 10 is how many blocks a chunk must have changed from its natural state in order to not be pruned. So if I've like built something 10 blocks or more, it won't get pruned. And then drop is land claims. That doesn't really matter in a single player game. And then confirm. So confirm is like a yes, I want to do it. Oh, did I type it wrong? db prune 10 drop confirm. Yes, and the resin markers are of course gonna get messed up again. What is going on with this prune command? Oh, yes. It's db prune. There we go. So prune has started. This may take some time. And what it's doing is it's erasing all the chunks that I haven't really modified. And, oh, here we go. Oh, boy. All right. What? I have backups in case this doesn't go well. But I might have pruned it to death. Yes. That does seem to be the case. Which is interesting, because I actually tested the DB pruning off stream. But that's fine. Because, like I said, I have backups. So let me quit out the game, delete my save files that got corrupted, and load from backup. Which means I'm actually going to have to reboot again, because it's going to need to rebuild the, whatever it asks to rebuild. I forget exactly what it prompts. So yeah, what a healthy start. What a healthy start. But that's why you back these things up when running, you know, major server or whatever modifying commands. So yeah, okay. Remapping sets. You may now restart my game or server. I don't think I actually have to reboot the game for that. Just hop out, hop back in, and then do the DB prune again. And hopefully it won't blow up. If it does blow up again, I think I can live without the DB pruning. It just means that I'm not going to have traders. But as long as the dungeons and ruins exist, that's fine. All right, I'm not going to touch it. Prune started. This may take some time, and I'm not going to touch it. Now, one of the weird things that's going to happen with the DB prune is like, there we go. Prune complete. Oh wow, that mountain looks. So this is an instance where that mountain I have modified enough that it didn't get pruned, but all the other terrain around it got pruned. So now the mountain's just a weird sort of like obelisk. But there we go. We have another pruning. Well, I can see animals out there, can't I? And that means that hypothetically we have traders back, which is cool. Very, very useful to have traders back. All right, so I did also want to talk about medium to long-term planning, and I'll do that as I am prepping some additional iron blooms. So the plan for me is to go to the endgame dungeon. I think, as you probably could have assumed. And in order to do that, there's a few things I would like to have first. I would like to have a set of at least steel chain armor, which means not even running just one, but in fact 2 separate steel. But if I sleep between running the steel, I don't think it will take too long. The other thing I'm going to need is healing. And that's where being in winter is a bit of a problem. So the healing item, there's 2 healing items that I could use. One involves honey and sulfur, and the other involves linen. And I don't really have honey in high volumes, nor do I have linen in high volumes. Which means that in sleeping through the steelmaking process as much as... Oh, look, a trader's already back. See? Sleeping through the steelmaking process as much as I can, I am going to be pushing the clock forward to the point where I might be able to start to get honey again. So the plan is to try to make honey sulfur poultices. So I'll show you what that is. So if you take a look at honey, here it is. Honey sulfur poultices, which heal 4 hit points per use, opposed to the regular reed poultices, which, come on. Yeah, here we go. Horsetail poultice, which heals 2. So it's double the healing, which is pretty significant when you're in dangerous situations. To double the amount of heals that you get is kind of nice, right? So that's the plan. And in order to get that done, we need to advance the season to springtime, where I can start either planting linen for bandages, because that's the other method of healing, is you can make horsetail poultices out of linen, which is really expensive, and I probably wouldn't do it. Honey sulfur poultices out of linen, which is like, it's still very expensive, but it's a lot more healing. Or just straight up bandage. Clean bandages, which is 3 HP, or going full-fledged alcohol-soaked bandages and soaking the alcohol in like a jug that we carry into boss fights. Something like that. So, basically the TLDR is for the Residence Archive, which we found to be way southeast down here. For the Residence Archive, I'm going to want better armor. I'm also going to want better healing. So right now what I'm doing is I'm prepping the 16 iron ingots that we're going to need in order to run another steel. And then I'm also going to need to make some charcoal as well. And yeah, the chunks around me, you can see some stayed and some got re-rendered. So it also deleted ice as well. The alcohol that you can soak bandages in is not alcohol that you'd want to drink. It has virtually no, like, nutritional value. It'll just make you really dizzy. Like, drinking, I'm gonna help out a little bit. Like drinking hand sanitizer. Which I advise you not to do. If it was up to me, I'd say don't do that. So once the new run of steel is underway, I can also take up other tasks that you guys vote on. Because the charcoal will have to be fed. I can't venture too far away from the base as I'm making steel, or it will stall out. Come on, get rid of all the slag. But I can, you know, take a day or two here or there to go errand running. So I'm no longer planning on making a meteoric iron brigandine, as it is, if I am making 2 batches of steel, there's really not going to be an opportunity for me to use it. So there's kind of no point. I'm just going to wait for chain, which has the same protection tier as the brigandine with fewer penalties. Far fewer penalties, and that matters a lot when it comes to trying to fight and heal. How much iron ore do I still have? Oh boy, lots. Tons of it. And I can fire some of it up into new blooms as well. That will be a poll option for you guys to vote on in a minute. But as you can see, I have almost 4 full stacks of additional hematite. So that's enough for 4 bloomeries, with some left over. So I'm definitely not hurting on iron. In fact, I believe I have enough iron. I haven't counted, but I believe I already have enough iron for the 2 remaining steelmaking processes. So that is fortunately not an issue I have. So once we get the 16 iron, I'll start the new cementation process. But in the meantime, might as well have you guys vote for the next goal. The goal that I take on while the steel is underway. So I can start armor smithing, because I'll have enough steel to make at least 1 of the chain pieces. I can prepare additional refractor bricks and iron ingots for more steel making, so that I have these 16 additional iron ingots that need to go into the 3rd steel. And also the refractor bricks to replace whatever breaks. I can search for sulfur, which is, what I need for the sulfur bandages. I could improve the sheep barn, make it more easy to milk, because we do have a run of cheese right now. I almost lost my mind trying to milk those sheep, but I did milk them, and now they're producing cheese. I could make the fruit press and distillery, which would allow me to do alcohol soak bandages. And we don't really have fruit, but since it is early spring, I think we're going to have fruit soonish, sort of. Especially if I put the fruit bushes in the apiary or some other heated area, which is technically a greenhouse. So we could even have like a bush greenhouse if you want. Scaffolding for the steel forge so that we can maintain it a little bit easier. General base improvements. So if you're wondering what those would be, general base improvements, like 1 would be replacing a lot of this like dirt floor with path tiles and just, support pillars on the floating sections and just things to make it look nicer, because there's a lot of parts of the base that just like don't look nice and can be cleaned up. I can also start domesticating chicken for eggs, if that is something you guys wish for me to do, or viewer suggestions. Really up to all of you. Alright, if you're wondering what eggs are, eggs go into, they're like a protein source that you don't necessarily have to hunt for. So unless you're growing a lot of soy, they're a really nice protein source so that you can not have to constantly trap, hunt, or slaughter your own animals. With that said, I would also say hogs are a pretty good protein source, and I do see 2 chickens right there. One's a chicken, one's a rooster. Soy does need K, yes. So it would compete with, it would be technically competing with your flax. But if that was your only protein source, that's fine. Just checking up on our dear bees. They have not swarmed. So there are some bees left, of course, which I could use to make some of those honey poultices, but I would want them to be swarming first. Because if they're not swarming, they're not, I would need to go get new skeps, and that would be a real pain to find wild bees, especially given that my map has been pruned, so I don't really know where bees are anymore. Oh yeah, wind. I like the beat of your drum, wind. Wow, look at all this extra chunk there. It's a lot of extra chunk. So in terms of because it looks like fruit press and distillery for the kitchen is going to win. Fruit press is relatively easy to do. The distillery is going to require a lot of copper. And it might be worth me... Oh, this is the last bloom. Sweet. It might be worth trying to find said copper from an underground source rather than a surface source so that I can return back to it often. Given that it looks like we're going to do fruit press and distillery, I'm going to leave the Hellhammer intact because we're going to need to hammer out a lot of plates. Hey, Cheese, thank you for the resub, dude. Because the distillery is made of all copper, and it's made of a lot of copper. What time is it in Australia right now? Isn't it like a weird time for you to be awake? Not that I am judging. Sounds judgy. So forget. 7:15? Okay, that's not ridiculous. All right, fruit press and distillery, got it. I'll update the priority of them ahead in just a sec. There's also one other thing that I would like to do in terms of improving the kitchen, which is to actually have like a cooking pot dedicated spot. I do have plenty of tin and lead. I actually don't really have any lead. I have like 17 nuggets of lead. Not that much. Okay. I don't know if I have enough coal to start the process, though. That might be something else I have to do. No, I don't want... What? I didn't mean to line the floor with coal. Okay, so I have 11 coal left, so I could put coal down here in like a 4 and 3 pattern. I'm trying to make it a little bit more even. So what do you have? We have 5 coal on each side. So I'm going to need to make another coal run. Or 6 and 5. Definitely going to need to make another coal run, but we could probably start it up anyway. And I would just need to make charcoal right away. Because I am out. I do have 3 units of brown coal, which I could have been using to heat up the everything, but oh well. Did I run coal at the end of the last stream? Oh, maybe there's coal for me to dig up. Let me go check. Okay, there we go. Receive seat. Carbonization is 0% complete. It is currently working. Now, given that it is heading to nighttime, I would also very much like to sleep through the nights so that we advance the clock past early winter into spring, which would then greatly help me. Oh, yeah, this is still processing. Okay. Well, with that started up, maybe I won't sleep right now, and I'll wait until this is done, and then I'll harvest the coal so that we can make sure that the steel refractory doesn't burn out overnight. Definitely don't need this in my hands anymore. Oops. I do like how your tongs don't, they don't get ruined at any point. So, talking about the distillery, let me unpause the game. It'd help if I could spell it. So you would need to make a boiler. So that is lead solder bars, which is why you were mentioning, at least I have tin and lead. A soldering iron, copper plates. As you can see, there's 5 of them here. So that's 10 ingots of copper. And then the condenser, which is 4 more ingots of copper, more lead, and more soldering irons. And then with this, you're also going to want probably a dedicated bucket for the condenser and boiler. And then the fruit press is a lot easier. Fruit press is just some resin, some fat, some boards, an ingot, depending on what material you want to make it out of. I don't think the ingot really matters. A chisel and a hammer makes the fruit press. So the way the fruit press works is you put fruit in the top, you put a bucket in the bottom, you screw the corkscrew down, it presses the fruit. The fruit drains as juice into the bucket, and then you get fruit mash as a result for pressing the fruit. Also, wouldn't mind milking them a little bit while I'm waiting around for the charcoal. Alright, I stressed them both out. At least I tried. And doing another run of food. So I was mentioning that I would really like to not have my fire pit on the ground in here anymore. So that's going to be also involved in reworking the kitchen. Setting it up so that I have a cooking place in the kitchen as well. Which is going to be nice, I think. Alright, come on, charcoal. So let's go ahead and... I can make the fruit press now, I suppose? So, keep the batch of steel running and improve the kitchen. So I have walnut boards. Sure, that will work. I have plenty of resin. I only need 3. Oh, 2 resin. An ingot, a chisel, a hammer, which isn't consumed, and then fat. A lot of meat looking... Well, the cured red meat is fine, but a lot of this meat's looking a little, not great. Milk only, or rather, curds only need 0.7 days, so they're coming along quite nicely as well. Alright, meteoric iron fruit press, because that's the ingots I have. Maybe that's a little overkill. Maybe I'll make a tiny... I know I'm going to be using up my copper, but I'm probably going to get tons of copper, so I'm not too worried about that. So I'm going to make a little bit of tin bronze. Do I actually... So a soldering iron is a chisel and a stick. So what I could do is I could make some soldering irons now as well. So I'll make 300 units of tin bronze. 2 of them will become soldering irons, and then 1 can become part of the fruit press. Are there any ingots in the big chest? Oh, no, there are tin bronze ingots in the big chest. Okay, I'll just do 1 of these then. Good call. I should just get in the habit of stacking my my ingots. Oh, that's too much. There we go. So one little run of tin bronze. And then we'll heat up the other 2 ingots. Or heat up one of the ingots, rather. So the rest of the fruit press requires the hammer and the chisel. Here we go. Vat, resin, ingot, hammer, chisel, done. There's my fruit press. Yeah, the soldering iron is a tool that isn't consumed. I could just make the one. Then is there another reason for me to make this tin bronze? Not really, because I'm going to need a lot of copper for the plates. What it could do is start 2 ingots of copper now, and then yeah. Start 2 ingots of copper now, and then I'll get at least 1 plate of that, and because we're gonna fill our ingot molds full of copper, pretty certainly. I don't know exactly where I want to put the fruit press, but for now I'll just plop it there. So you would put a bucket underneath, and then you just press it. Presto changeo, you got yourself some juice and some mashed. Is it done? No, still not done. Well, it's taking a while. Alright, well, let's do the kitchen stove then. I'm not really sure how I want the tables to be laid out. Maybe on the sides. Because you're going to need tables for dough. And then I can have one here as like food prep. So the other thing I wanted to do is a nice surface to cook on. And I'm going to put this here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to be shy a brick, which is fine. I can just harvest from over here. And then replace that with a pathing tile. And it's not done yet, if that wasn't obvious. I would need the hammer and chisel from upstairs. Welcome! I always love when YouTube viewers stop on by. My pleasure to have you here. Oh, butterfly. So I have 3 brown coal, which can be used for the mold for that. So let's fix this up. I'm glad I have such tough hammer and chisel. And a lot of spare meteoric iron now. So, for random tools, I don't really have to worry too much. Alright, there we go. I'm sort of curious if it will let me inset it and then still put a fireplace down. Probably not, but we'll find out. So we're going to need to cook pretty soon, so I suppose we'll see. And then I'm also going to want to move the peat that I have into the actual kitchen, because that's where we're going to be using it. Yeah. As I thought. If I had more, I would have a lifted lip here. More red brick. So what I could do is maybe harvest some additional red brick and do exactly what I had in mind. But the idea is to have like a bit of a cooking hearth of sorts, so that it doesn't look like I'm just cooking on the floor, which I think is will be a nice change. I'll also take the bucket of honey. Put the bucket of honey there. There. Now it looks a bit more kitchen-y, if you ask me. Now, if it was to fix up the red part. Yeah, let's do it. Doesn't really matter how these go, because I'm going to be chiseling them anyway. So I need to get a saw for the bricks that I'm holding. And I also can just pull up a bunch of the red clay bricks and cut them in half. I thought... Maybe I can't. I thought you could split them. Perhaps you can't. Really? Let me check. Okay, I'll do this the easier way. I don't need to find an encyclopedia, I could just stare at it. Really? It doesn't come up in the encyclopedia? Red clay... yeah, okay. They all are only a source in dungeons. Alright, fine. Alright, I think I'm just missing one corner piece now. Right there. Sorry, table. You've been moved 1,000 times. And now it's going to be 1,001. Don't worry, this abomination will look less abomination-y in a minute. You can kind of see the aesthetic I'm going for, where there's a sort of a raised lip around the fire. And it also somewhat helped to obscure the fact that it's just a simple fire. Like there's not really a kitchen stove. So this is supposed to be a kitchen stove-like. And I like it. Maybe we'll even add a little lip here. A little extra flair. I think this was worth doing. Personally. I could even make it so that it has like a hole in the side where it looks like fire goes. Or better yet, I bet I could stack... Oh, no, I couldn't. I was gonna say I bet I could stack firewood under there. That'd be really cool, but I would need to move this up like a little bit. But yeah, there we go. You like the extended rim? It's gonna be easier to cook this way though, to add fuel to it. I also wanted to make it, usable as a person. Because if it was annoying to use, I would lose my mind. All right, let's get cooking on it, because I am mightily hungry. I did build it with firewood, but we're going to fuel it with peat. I don't have a good place for peat yet. And let's get some ingredients. And I do plan on having path tiles all the way from here to the kitchen, so it's easier to grab ingredients. So we're gonna do red meat. I'll just do a 3 stew. Because I'm just so hungry. You know what? Actually, I have a lot of onions. Or turnips. I'll do onions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even though my grain is kind of falling behind, but my next meal will be grain. Now, I don't have a chimney for it, but above is the, above here is my, my health hammer, so chimney doesn't really make sense up there. All part of the kitchen improvement project. And it looks like I'm going to be able to avoid hunger just in time. Hey, Eldritch, thank you for the resub. Yep, just in time. Hi, Drifters. You're not allowed in here, so I'm glad you're on the other side. So yeah, I like it. I like the little fire pit. Let's do a few more path blocks. really don't know where to put this thing. There. Goes on a table. Looks party aesthetic now. Alright, there we go. So it's a little bit quicker to move around the base. And the kitchen's looking a little bit more kitchen-y now, I think. So, all good things. Charcoal is done. But I did spend the entire night remodeling, so we weren't able to sleep through the night to advance steel. So now, what I'm doing is I'm gonna make the run of the 2 copper ingots, and then top up the furnace so that the steel doesn't stall out. And then we'll go looking for some deep copper rather than surface copper. I think it's time to have like a vein of copper exploited. That's not a lot of charcoal from that run, but okay. It's all chance, right? Sometimes you don't get lucky. I don't need to prep another burn for charcoal just yet. That can wait, I think. Oh, it did stall out already. But only just. So it's not like it's been frozen for very long. There we go. I'll make the soldering iron later. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story, which originally streamed live on Twitch, February 29th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Seraphs.